On this episode of Paranormal News, we have got Bigfoot swinging from trees. We've got a report of a person that saw a ghost. We've got a drive-in haunted house, a haunted motel, and much, much more. So without further ado, let's get to the articles. All right, this article is from thedailyvoice.com, and the headline is Woman Reports Seeing Bigfoot Swinging Tree to Tree in Hudson Valley. It's written by Joe Lombardi, and it was published 8/4/2020. The Hudson Valley's lead researcher of Bigfoot says a reported sighting has occurred this summer. The researcher, Gail J. Betty, says she was informed of the sighting on Thursday, July 2nd, when she received a phone call from a woman in Dutchess County who was working as a landscaper on a property in Hyde Park. The woman's name is strictly confidential, as is the precise location of the incident, Betty said. Might be Beatty. The woman described the creature as being approximately 6 foot to 7 foot in height and reddish brown, and said it moved through the trees like a monkey, according to Beatty. The incident happened after the woman, who had been weeding the garden, was told to dump the weeds down a trail a couple of 100 feet behind the barn, Beatty wrote in a Facebook post. After dumping the weeds, the wheelbarrow dropped, making a loud noise, the woman said. Suddenly, from approximately 50 feet away, she sees and hears something crashing through the thick vegetation, parting the brush towards her, according to Beatty. Beatty said the creature then jumped in the tree above her, leaving the woman in shock and disbelief, as it began using its arms to swing from tree to tree, moving away from her. Beatty said she has had several reports from Hyde Park area over the last few years, leading her to believe there is a clan living there. And that is the end of the article. You don't hear very often about Bigfoot swinging through the trees like Tarzan, or like some kind of jungle monkey. Kind of interesting. All right, this next article comes from monitor.co.ug, and the title is simply The Day I Saw a Ghost. It was published Saturday, August 15th, 2020. It was written by Philip Madigo. I was at high school in Limuru, Kenya at the time. The Grand School, where I schooled, was suckled by the maternal bosom of the countryside. It was a scene of native, disturbing beauty. At times, the moist Limuru air was sluiced by avian song, as floating seas of cobalt sky played host to the liquid gold burst of sunshine. One night I was playing cards in one of these dorms with some classmates, because the school unwound uneasily on a rolling slope. This particular dorm was at the top of the hill, while my dorm was at its foot. What separated the two dorms was about 100 meters, give or take, of grassy expanse. Anyway, I was playing cards, and losing, badly. So I kept on playing in hopes of reversing my losing streak and winning at least a game. But as I kept at it, I found myself scratching an open wound of loss, with even more loss. By the time I was down to my 1,000th defeat, it had gone midnight, and my pals wanted to sleep. So they sent me doorward with a shoving goodbye, while I loudly insisted on the very last game, like some addict craving a fix. The door was slammed shut in my face. I opened my mouth to plead some more, but an instant after, the door bolted from the inside. I was out on my ear, I thought to myself. Before any bitterness could get the better of me, I realized how creepily dark it was around me. Sure, the dorm security lights threw illumination here and there, but these patches of radiance only made the surrounding darkness even more audible. I peeped around me, and could see that the classrooms were moodily obscured by the night. The trees rustled as the breeze played the mystic chords of a nature set to a silence that lullabies the world to sleep. I started walking back to my dorm, all alone. It seemed like a mile away. My heart was beating hard. Fear was pounding at the walls of my breast, as it expanded and contracted to Mr. Universe / Mr. Puniverse proportions. I kept on walking. Soon I had passed the main building. My heart was still throbbing like a drum kit at a sold-out rock concert, as the instrumentation of the night's menacing tranquility seemed to tune my fear to a deafening pitch. And just as my adrenaline reached bumper anxiety levels, I heard a sound coming from the hedge behind me, near the main building. So I slowly and stiffly turned around to see what was up. The sound started building in intensity as the hedge was about to explode. Turned full circle, I stopped and watched the hedge. It was noisily astir with movement. "What's going on?" I asked amid the uproar of a riot of nerves. An answer was not long in coming. Before my eyes I saw a smoky haze of a person emerging out of the hedge. He, it looked like a he, towered over me. He seemed in a rush, and so didn't look sidelong at me as he strode forth. His strides covered a lot of ground fast, and just as suddenly as he had erupted from the hedge, he melted into the main building wall, and was gone. It all happened so fast that it took me a moment to register. When I finally got my wits about me and settled down, I realized I might have just seen a ghost. Frightened out of my mind, I stood superglued to where I was. My heart had stopped going da-dum as it sank, like the Titanic in an ocean of fear. I was frozen in time. Then I made a snap decision, and soon I was sprinting down towards my dorm, so fast that my facial features had set in one place. Suddenly, oops, I slipped, and took a major spill, rolling a little before stopping, face down on the ground. I was spread eagle on the floor, yet there was not a moment to lose. I thus sprang up and started running for the world record again. This time I kept going until I almost went right through my dorm's front door, not daring to look over my shoulder to see whether I was followed. I fumbled the door open and leaped inside. Then I shut the door behind me and flew into my bed. From behind my beddings my teeth chattered noisily as I gripped my blanket with two desperate hands and waited. I lay on my bed, panting and unsure whether that gray figure would come to my room and just say, "Boo." The whole night I just lay there wide-eyed and horrified. At the crack of dawn, the night retired from its shift as day took its course. In the cold light of day I stepped outside my room, looking here and there to make sure the ghost was nowhere to be seen. The coast was clear. I then trotted to the dining room for breakfast, as the incense of my hot breath faded into the morning sky. And that is the end of the article. That was a very weird story. This next article comes from CNN, and the headline is "Tokyo has a drive-in haunted house, and it's terrifying." It was uploaded on the 14th of August, 2020. Tokyo, CNN. We can all agree that screaming is a pivotal part of a great haunted house experience. But at a time when exhalation is discouraged because of the pandemic, a Japanese company has created an attraction that allows social distancing guidelines yet remains absolutely terrifying: a drive-in haunted house. I can't even pronounce that word. We're just going to say K. A Japanese haunted house and horror event production company claims the concept is the first of its kind. With the virus, I knew there would be no way we could have a traditional haunted house with all that screaming in a small confined space. Kenta Hawana, K's founder, tells CNN Travel. When I read that drive-through theaters were making a comeback, it was my aha moment. Stuck in a pitch-black, zombie-infested garage. The haunted house drive-in, located in a covered parking garage in a nondescript building in downtown Tokyo, gives visitors a 360-degree front-row experience that simulates being stuck in a car during a zombie outbreak. You can use your own car for $75, or if you're like many Tokyoites and don't own one, they will provide a vehicle for $85. Given you're just sitting in the garage, no driver's license is needed. Visitors turn off the engine and the garage shutter closes, plunging the vehicle into total darkness. Drivers receive a set of Bluetooth speakers and the spooky tale begins. Around these parts, there's a legend that the ghosts attack humans. Honk your horn 3 times if you want to hear more, says the voice from the speaker in Japanese. For the next 17 minutes, blood-soaked ghouls and zombies press up against the windows and rock the car. Fear not, somehow you will live through it. And this right here is a picture of apparently the blood-soaked ghoul messing with your car. Look at all the blood on that car. What a mess. I mean, that's just absolutely insane. Extra blood and cleaning services. With Tokyo battling another wave of infections, the company says it's taking every precaution to protect both its actors and customers. Each car is wiped down with alcohol to minimize risks for the ghost actors. Rental cars are lined in plastic, which is changed for every customer. Afterward, the car is wiped clean of the fake blood and potential viruses from the hands of the ghosts. There is fine print on the website that says we cannot remove every drop of blood. It will be clean enough to drive on the road. There's also an extra bloody package available for an additional $9. Summer is traditionally peak season for ghost stories in Japan, a popular way to chill out on a hot night. Juana says scary films and games have always been part of his life. My parents rented horror movies and let me watch them. Played Biohazard, Resident Evil 7 since I was 3, says Iwana. Ghosts are like Pokemon to me. He dropped out of university 6 years ago to turn his passion into a business, staging haunted houses and creating bespoke thrillers. Anywhere anyone asks me, including amusement parks, arcades, and private homes. Founded on Halloween Day in 2018, K roughly translates to the Scaredy Squad in Japanese. With all the self-restraint permeating in society due to that thing, he wanted to show that it was okay for people to have some fun. The drive-in haunted house experience started out as a summer-only attraction in July, with tickets selling out the day they went on sale. Now there's a waiting list of more than 1,000 people, says Iwana. Given its immense popularity, he says they're bringing it back when temperatures cool, as August is too hot to run the haunted drive-in. And that is the end of the article. And in case you're wondering why I'm not saying that name, and I'm saying the thing or the virus or the pandemic instead, is because YouTube will censor me if I say that thing. And I'm just now getting back to the point where my channel is starting to be normal again. After I talked about some stuff I wasn't supposed to talk about, they completely demonetized me for a while and totally banned me to where they wouldn't even recommend my videos to anybody or anything. So I'm not doing that again. So we're going to call it the thing. But that is the end of that article. This next article is from WOKQ.com, and the headline is Haunted Hotel in New Hampshire Has Spooky History. It was written by Jess Tyler, and it was published August 10th, 2020. I wouldn't say that I'm brave enough to want to stay at a haunted hotel, but I do love to hear the stories behind them. One of the most haunted hotels is located right here in New Hampshire, and even former presidents stayed there. Mount Washington Hotel in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire has a rich history. According to HauntedRooms.com, the hotel was built back in 1902 by a wealthy businessman named Joseph Stickney. He and his beloved bride Carolyn lived there when Joseph died from a heart attack. The story goes that Carolyn was left alone to roam the halls, missing her husband. She eventually married and left the hotel, but after that husband also died, Carolyn came back to Bretton Woods and lived the rest of her days in the hotel that Joseph built for her. According to HauntedRooms.com, guests and staff alike say to this day they have spotted a ghost that looks exactly like Carolyn looking over the balcony and descending stairs at dinner time. Carolyn's room, number 314, is still available to rent, but be prepared to be woken up in the middle of the night. Guests have reported seeing a woman sitting on the end of the bed, slowly brushing her hair, according to HauntedRooms.com. I think I'll pass on that room. Many people have been brave enough to stay there, though. And this is a YouTube video underneath here that shows some evidence from there. We're not going to watch that. I try not to click on YouTube videos in articles because I don't want to take the credit away from the people. So you can go here to the site and click on that yourself if you want to watch that video. According to the website, many famous people have stayed at the Mount Washington Hotel, including Thomas Edison, the Vanderbilts, and 3 U.S. presidents. The hotel was purchased by some businessmen back in 1991 and now features luxurious rooms and amenities. And that is the end of the article. This next article comes from EastIdahoNews.com, and the title is First UFOs, Now Bigfoot. Idaho is among the top states for more paranormal sightings. It was written by Nicole Blanchard, an Idaho statesman, and published on July 28, 2020, and updated later on that same day, pretty much same exact time as it was first posted. And this is a picture that is supposedly of a Bigfoot that was taken in Idaho. Not a whole lot you can really see. It's the basic shape of what a Bigfoot would be, I guess, but it's blurry and out of focus. Boise, Idaho statesman. Last month, Idaho was named the top spot in the United States for sightings of unidentified flying objects. But it turns out UFOs aren't the only paranormal entity being spotted in the gem state. According to an analysis by SatelliteInternet.com, Idaho is one of the top places for Bigfoot sightings in the country. The company last month researched UFO sightings to try and determine if satellite internet equipment was being mistaken for UFOs. It frequently is. Last week, SatelliteInternet.com released a similar rating, this time for Sasquatch sightings. We dug into reports from the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization and compared it against state population data to see where people have the best chance of befriending a Bigfoot, the company analysis said. The Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization has 93 reports of Bigfoot encounters in Idaho, meaning for every 100,000 people in Idaho, about 5 of them have seen or heard a Squatch. That per capita rate earned Idaho 4th place in the ranking of most Bigfoot sightings. Of course, it's not a perfect metric. When SatelliteInternet.com was measuring UFO sightings, it pared the results down to the last 18 months. However, reports on the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization website date back as late as the 1960s, which makes the results less precise. Using that data, SatelliteInternet.com named Washington the top state in the country for Bigfoot sightings, with nearly 9 sightings per 100,000 people. That makes sense given the state's long history with the hairy cryptid. Oregon came in 2nd place with 6 sightings per capita, and West Virginia took 3rd place with 5.8 sightings per capita. North Idaho's Bonner County appears to be the state Sasquatch hotspot. 18 of Idaho's 93 sightings were reported there, including one from February 2020 in which a logger hears long roaring howls on the same property large tracks had been discovered. Valley County has 13 of the state reports, including one from November 2018 on Tamarack Resort property. If you want to catch a glimpse of Bigfoot, you'll have to head out of the Treasure Valley. The Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization has no record of sightings in Ada or Canyon counties, though the elusive creature has reportedly been seen several times in the Boise National Forest. While it's definitely up for debate as to whether there's a Bigfoot-like being in Idaho, our state is home to one of the most foremost experts on Bigfoot. Idaho State University professor Jeff Meldrum, who teaches anatomy and anthropology, has published a book on Sasquatch and continues to research non-human hominoid species. And that is the end of this article. So if you want to find the Sasquatch, Idaho looks like a pretty good spot to go. It's about all the time we have for this episode of Paranormal News. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and all that jazz, blah, blah, blah. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for all your support, and I love you guys so much. Until I speak to you again, love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do I. Bye-bye.